Hello and welcome to Easy Elite English. Now a question, you could call it a teaser, but it's important in mathematics. Now a teaser today is, when is the average of A and B is not equal to A plus B whole by 2? We know the average of A comma B is A plus B whole by 2. When is this not true? When is the average of two quantities A, B is not equal to half of the sum of A and B? So we have shown it graphically. See, a student did like this. Since by formula, average of A and B is A plus B whole by 2. So the average of 30 and 45 should be 30 plus 45 by 2, 37.5 kilometer per hour. And the teacher said, good logic, bad math. Hi, my boy, 0 marks. Do you find it strange that the average of two numbers, two quantities, is not equal to the sum divided by 2? Let us see how it is. AB is a straight road. A car travels from A to B at 45 km per hour and returns from B to A at 30 km per hour. AB is a straight road. While going, it is 45 km per hour, and while returning, it is 30 km per hour. Find the average speed for the whole journey. And this is what the student did. Since the average of A comma B is A plus B by 2, so the average of 30 km per hour and 45 km per hour should be 30 plus 45 by 2, that is 37.5. And the teacher gave him 0. Now, first of all, we will see how to solve it. Then we will see why this formula does not apply. There's a particular reason that this formula, average of A and B is A plus B whole by 2. This formula will not apply when you take the average of two quantities in certain cases. We shall be discussing about that later, but first how to solve. You can't be taking average simply by adding 30 and 45, getting 75 and dividing by 2. There are three methods, not one, but there are three different methods. And the first method, which probably is the simplest method, let the distance be 90 kilometer. Now you may ask why I am taking 90. 90 is the LCM of 30 and 45. And when you take 90 as a distance, you would be avoiding fractions. It is just to avoid fractions that we are taking the LCM of 30 and 45, 90 kilometer as the distance. Actually, you can be taking the distance to be 100 kilometer, 1 kilometer, 1000 kilometer, anything you can take. But here we are choosing 90, the LCM of 30 and 45, in order to avoid fractions. So 90 kilometer onward journey A to B at 45 kilometer per hour would be 2 hours. And time for 90 kilometer return journey from B to A at 30 kilometer per hour would be 3 hours. So total distance going 90 and coming back 90, 180 kilometers, and the total time is 5 hours. And the average speed 180 kilometer divided by 5 hours, or 36 kilometer per hour. And this is the right answer. That was method 1. Distance we assume to be the LCM of the two speeds in order to avoid fractions. If we had taken, for instance, 100 kilometers, 100 by 45, you would be getting a fraction. But by taking 90, you're avoiding the fraction. So in order to avoid fractions, we are taking the distance to be the LCM of the two speeds. But there are other methods. Method 2. Let distance be x kilometer. We are not taking the LCM, but we are taking it to be x. So x kilometer onward journey at 45 kilometer per hour would be x by 45 hours. And time for x kilometer return journey at 30 kilometer per hour would be x by 30 hours. Total distance x kilometer forward, x kilometer return, total 2x kilometer, and the total distance, if you add these two, x by 45 and x by 30, you will get 5x by 90. And the average speed is distance 2x divided by time 5x by 90, again giving you 36 km per hour. Also correct answer. And now the method 3. Probably no one will use the method, but this method will give you an insight into why the usual formula a plus b by 2 is not applicable. Why we cannot apply one speed A, one speed B. Why we cannot say a plus b by 2? The formula will give you an insight. It may not be the best option to calculate in this way, or it may not be the easiest method, but this formula is important as it gives you the insight. So the formula is, in such cases, and what kind of cases we shall come afterwards. A inverse plus B inverse, take the average by dividing by 2 and then again inverse. See the formula, inverse of the average of inverse of A and inverse of B. Inverse of A, inverse of B, find the average A plus B, A inverse plus B inverse whole by 2 and then again take the inverse. So 45 inverse, 1 by 45, 30 inverse would be 1 by 30. When you add that, you get 5 by 90, and when you divide by 2, so 5 by 90 will cancel to 1 by 18, 1 by 18, by 2 inverse, that would give you 1 by 36 inverse, that is 36 km per hour. And now, looking at the formula, we can say why we did the inverse. Why did we use the formula? A inverse plus B inverse, then you find the average and again take the inverse. Why not directly A plus B by 2? Speed is not a simple quantity. Speed is not a simple or fundamental quantity. It is distance by time. But there is something more. In the onward and return journey, the numerator or the distance was constant and the denominator or the time taken was not. So you have two quantities when numerators are equal and denominators are different. So obviously you can't add them and divide by 2. And when we did the inverse, then what happened? Denominator or time became the numerator and the distance, which was numerator, became the denominator, and now the denominator were equal. So we could actually add and divide by 2, but then again the final answer was that time was on the top, time was the numerator, distance was the denominator. So again we did the inverse to get back distance by time. So this was one of the exceptions we were talking about when we said the average of A comma B is not always A plus B whole by 2. We will be coming back with more such interesting videos. That was Easy Elite English Education Trust. WhatsApp and email us. We will meet again. Till then, thank you and goodbye.